The president has put the entire Luzon under what the palace calls an enhanced community quarantine. What exactly does an enhanced community quarantine mean?
It means absolute lockdown or total lockdown.
Wow, that escalated so quickly. Thank you very much for tuning into my channel. I'm Radhikas Story from Hare Krishna Mandir, Philippines. If you're here for the first time, please do consider subscribing to my channel. So here in the Philippines, we have been under a lockdown for the last 2 months, and it actually just got extended for another 2 weeks. So in this video, I'd like to share with all of you my understanding about this entire situation from a Krishna conscious perspective. And I would also like to express some of my key concerns about how the whole world is actually handling the situation. Actually, in several ways, this lockdown has proven to be more of a blessing than a curse. For those of you who are not aware, as part of our daily sadhana or our spiritual practices, we have a very regimented program of activities from 3 a.m. to 10 a.m. every single day. And none of that has changed even a single bit because of this lockdown situation, because devotional service cannot be interrupted by any sort of a material condition. But in some way or the other, indirectly, we are also affected by this pandemic, as we have not been able to carry out any of our outdoor activities ever since the lockdown has been imposed. And the Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, which is supposed to be held in Singapore next month, had to be called off due to this issue. Alright, now let's go to the main part of the video. They are currently calling it extreme enhanced community quarantine here in the Philippines. I must tell you, it's pretty extreme. And as part of the extreme quarantine measures, they have actually implemented a rule that anybody who wishes to come out of their houses has to avail what they're calling a quarantine pass. Heading out to the local administration office to secure the quarantine pass. With more than a week into this quarantine period, we are already running out of our stock of veggies and other provisions, and in order for me to go to the market to purchase vegetables, I need to have this quarantine pass, which is required to be produced at the various checkpoints that they have set up all around the city. And I believe only one person per household is eligible to acquire this pass, so that way they control the number of people coming out from their houses. Alright, so now that I've acquired the home quarantine pass, I'm allowed to step out of the house and go to the market. Like I said, we are completely running out of provisions and vegetables and stuff. Okay, so what is this home quarantine pass? Well, let me read it out to you in Tagalog, what's written here. Isang tao lang po ang pwedeng lumabas kada bahay para bumili ng pagkain o gamot. Which means only one person is allowed to step out of the house with this pass, and it is only for the purpose of buying either medicine or food. Although we totally do appreciate all the efforts that are being taken by the government to control this most deadly virus, these efforts are only a temporary solution. So it may seem to be giving some relief from the issue for the time being, but as we can already sense, there are a whole lot of other problems that are arising because of these lockdown measures. They're already predicting a major economic problem. So generally people who are very addicted to sense gratification, they think there is actually no God, and they're so careless in following any rules and regulations. But now, as soon as something like this happens, they are now on the other extreme. So this attitude of the people in general and also the government across the globe reminds me of this one proverb in Telugu that I used to hear very often from my mother since my childhood, which says Ativrishti Anavrishti. So Ativrishti and Anavrishti basically means the two opposite extremes. So right now I'm here at the market. A lot has changed since the last time I came here.
Huwag po kayong magdikit-dikit, bawal po ang dikit-dikit nang hindi po tayo maawaan ng kumakalat na sakit. walang dikit, walang sakit.
They have implemented very strict safe distancing rules and all that, because this market actually received a lot of criticism for not following any community quarantine rules. Let's go purchase some vegetables. We are in a total tepid mode, so we got to make sure that it lasts for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Papishta ye durachara deva brahmana nindakaha apatya bhojanastesham akala maranam dhruvam. People who are very sinful and extremely misbehaved and very unclean in their habits and who eat anything and everything, for them untimely death is sure. This verse perfectly explains the cause of the spread of this virus. So although people may come up with their own theories of the origin and spread of this virus, the real fact is that the Lord is sanctioning this. As the common saying goes, not even a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. So the Supreme Lord, who is governing the entire universe by his various energies and representatives, he is sanctioning this. And why would God, who is our supreme well-wisher, sanction all of this? Because we asked for it. We have misused our minute independence and we have committed such atrocious sins. So now the sinful reactions have risen to such an extent that the Lord had to sanction something this severe. Krishna has already explained in the Bhagavad Gita that this place is actually Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Dukha Alayam meaning it's a place of miseries, and Ashashvatam meaning everything here is temporary. So even the solutions that we may find to solve these issues are also temporary. Damage control is what they're doing. So they shouldn't have even let it come this far in the first place. Parikshit Maharaj was the emperor of the entire world, and he imposed a very strict lockdown on all places of sinful activities. It is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Dyutam Panam Striyam Suna Yatra Dharmas Chaturvitha. So these are the 4 sinful activities: illicit sex, gambling, meat eating and intoxication. And he had imposed a complete lockdown on places where these 4 sinful activities were taking place. He was personally patrolling all over his kingdom, and he would chastise anybody who was taking part in these 4 sinful activities. All this while, people have been complaining that they do not have sufficient time to worship God. So what can be a better time than this to concentrate on the core aspects of our human form of life? Human life is meant for God realization, and people are doing everything except that. They do not know how to utilize this abundant amount of time that they have due to this lockdown situation. People are finding ways and means to actually kill time. This shows how ignorant people are of the value of time. As Chanakya Pandit says, even one moment of time wasted cannot be gotten back for millions of amounts of gold. So that is the value of time, and people just do not realize this. As long as they are active, they do so many things for the destruction of the world, and when they are locked down in a situation like this, all they can think of is sense gratification. Alright, I'm already quite close to the temple. Let me unload the veggies here at the temple. Now heading out to the hospital to pick up Radhika. Alright, so let's continue our conversation, where we? Regarding the safety measures and stuff, Krishna has already declared in the Bhagavad Gita that this material world is actually a place of miseries and everything here is temporary. So any amount of adjustment is actually not going to satisfy us in times of such difficulty or anxiety. People artificially tend to become overly positive about things, and there are others who are praising the government for taking such strict measures of quarantine, and they have a lot of faith in these measures that the government is taking. The this is not really our business here in this material world. Any amount of material adjustments is not really going to satisfy us unless and until we completely become Krishna conscious and get out of here. So constantly being bombarded with these sort of problems, it's actually an opportunity for us to realize the temporary nature of the material world. This is what the material struggle is all about, trying to find solutions for problems. And the more we can find solutions to problems, the more we think we are happy. And in this way we have convinced ourselves that this place is after all not all that bad. Everything can be solved with scientific advancement. So material advancement basically means we are becoming lesser and lesser God conscious. In the last few decades especially, there has been a lot of advancement in all these fields. And look at the kind of panic the entire world is in right now. A virus which is this small is so mighty that it has taken the entire world hostage within just a span of 1 month. It has brought the whole world to a standstill. So where is our advancement? This is simply a punishment from material nature for all the wrongdoings of people. When it rises to such a great extent, then it starts to fructify. People in the material world actually think that so long as they are not suffering, whatever they are doing is all right. But they do not realize that they are actually building up, they are accumulating their sinful reaction more and more until it gets to a point where the bubble has to burst, and that is when we are made to suffer such intense reactions which is beyond our control. So it is explained in the Shastras that sinful reactions are actually in various different stages. Some are in the seed-like stage, some are in the stalk stage, and some are on the verge of fructification. So kutam bijam phalonmukham. So just like when you sow a seed, it takes time for it to sprout and for it to become a plant, then it becomes a tree, then it starts to bear flowers, then it bears fruit, and that is when you get to enjoy the fruit. So similarly, sinful reactions, some are actually in the seed-like stage. That means we have just started sowing these seeds of sinful reactions, and it may take time to fructify, but so long as people are not suffering, they think that whatever they are doing is all right. So it gives them a false sort of a conviction that there is no supreme controller and they can do whatever they so wish. But in the very same verse, the solution for all these problems is also given, and that is Kramenaiva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmana. So all these different stages of sinful reactions can be mitigated, can be solved by advancing on the process of bhakti, Vishnu bhakti ratatmana. Kramenaiva praliyeta, it can be destroyed gradually by taking up to the process of devotional service. So this is the real solution for all these problems. And viewers, mark my words, right after this entire pandemic situation is finished, people are definitely going to go back to all their old habits again. And in fact, I have to mention this, just this last weekend, the Sunday was Easter Sunday. So here, Philippines is a Catholic country where people celebrate the Holy Week, and they take a vow not to eat meat during the entire Holy Week, and because that was this was the time when Jesus Christ was apparently crucified. In honor of his disappearance, they avoid intake of meat. And when it comes to Easter Sunday is when Jesus Christ resurrected again. That means he rose again, and that is a cause of great celebration. And they celebrated by eating meat again. So at a stone's throw from our temple, there is an outlet of what they call lechon here in the Philippines. Lechon is roasted pig. So they kill the pig, they cut it, and they pierce a rod from the backside, from the anus, and it comes out of the mouth, and they roast the pig, you see. And this is what people were feasting on to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ laid his life on the cross, asking people not to eat meat. He said, "Thou shalt not kill." To celebrate celebrate the day when Jesus Christ was resurrected, they're actually killing so many animals and eating them just to gratify their own senses. So this is how sinful people are. When they consider sense gratification the aim of life, they become so mad, they become insane and commit all sorts of sinful activities, and they do not even realize. So activities like these are definitely going to trigger some very severe consequences. And whenever such a situation arises, instead of actually stopping sinful activities and worshipping God, people actually blame God as to why He is giving so much suffering to the people. So in this way, time and again, despite numerous punishments administered by the stringent laws of the material nature under the direction of the Supreme Lord, people still do not realize this. Okay, this is generally the scene at checkpoints. They have a whole lot of instructions there. You can see some quarantine control point, mga dapat at di dapat gawin, do's and don'ts. And they have some truck here spraying some sort of insecticide or something. Okay. Susundayin ko pa asawa ko sa hospital. Doctor ako siya. St. Luke's po. Salamat po. Alright, here we are. This is the hospital where she's working. It's actually one of the biggest hospitals here in the Philippines. It's the St. Luke's Medical Center. So this is where Radhika works. And she missed her shuttle a while ago. They have a free shuttle every 2 hours. And she missed the shuttle, so I had to... Okay, let's find where she is. Okay, there she is. Everyone. How was your duty?
Okay,
Were there a lot of patients?
not so much.
Throughout this lockdown period, she has a lot of duties. As most of you may know, she is a doctor here. Sorry for interrupting the video. I'm the editor Radhikas Das from the future. So I just actually wanted to add this point here. A few weeks ago, Radhika shared this particular picture on her Facebook page, and it went totally viral. This is actually a picture of her while she was at work, holding up a message that said the only thing to do right now is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So this got shared all over social media, on Instagram, Facebook and WhatsApp, left, right, center, and within no time she started receiving a lot of messages from people all around the world with prayers, blessings and praises for all that she was doing. Really proud of her for taking this wonderful opportunity to spread the holy name to so many thousands of people. Alright, so that brings us towards the end of the video. I agree, it was a little bit long, but for those of you who have stayed until this point, I'd like to really thank you very much for your patience. I'd like to add just a few more concluding words to all that we have discussed. So as we come towards the end of this entire lockdown period, we can already sense the rising levels of excitement in people as things are going to go back to normal. And normal for them is to be able to engage in all kinds of sinful activities as they used to before. But let's not forget, that is exactly what caused this entire pandemic situation. And if we maintain this sort of an attitude, we're going to see many, many more pandemics in the future. We are not against celebration. Celebration is a very good thing. But let us not celebrate at the cost of the lives of other living entities. This pandemic has certainly done a lot of good things to this world. It has definitely brought down the level of sinful activities, and it has finally given a chance to Mother Earth to recuperate from all the damage that has been done. So let us not undo it. If any one of you watching this video is a lawmaker or is from the administrative department of any country, our humble request to you is to kindly tighten up the laws against sinful activities. I mean, come on. If the whole world can be locked down for 2 whole months, how difficult is it to implement some stricter laws against sinful activities? That's going to save the world from a lot of damage. So I hope you consider this. Let us all be more responsible citizens of this planet Earth and learn how to live in harmony with Mother Nature. And let us come out of this illusion that scientific advancement and material adjustments can solve our problems of birth, death, old age and disease. Let us give up even the slightest tinge of hope that this material world can give us happiness. Let us always remain very pessimistic about all the allurements that this material world has to offer us, and let us have God consciousness, more specifically Krishna consciousness, which is the only process which can mitigate all our suffering and award us the supreme happiness that we are all hankering after. Hare Krishna.
People follow, imitate Americans. I am traveling all over the world. Everywhere I see they're trying to manufacture the skyscraper building, imitating your country. So, if you kindly become Krishna conscious and chant and dance in ecstasy, emotional love of God, the whole world will follow you and it will be Vaikuntha. There will be no more trouble. Thank you very much.